Is this the end of everything? Why did HYBE suddenly issue an emergency statement mentioning Jungkook and Taehyung's names at a time when hot rumors were starting to burn ARMY's heart? What is really going on behind closed doors until these two most influential names in BTS become the center of a storm that no one is ready to accept? The shocking facts you're about to read will probably change the way you look at them forever. And no one was really ready when the news exploded on social media. In a matter of minutes, the hashtag containing the names of Jungkook and Taehyung penetrated the global trending, not because of a comeback, not because of a stage performance, but because of an official statement from HYBE that was so short but raised millions of questions. Armies around the world are wondering, why now? Why them? And why does the tone of his statement sound so urgent, as if something has to be said before it's too late? It's no secret that the relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung has been the subject of speculation for years. They are two figures who not only hold a big role in BTS, but also in the hearts of millions of fans. Every look, every smile, even every distance between them was always analyzed, enlarged, and talked about by the ARMY. However, this time it was different. This time it's not just fan speculation or rumors from anonymous accounts. It's the direct voice of a company that overshadows them, and it makes it all feel more real, heavier, and more dangerous. The biggest question was, what made HYBE so hasty that she felt the need to release an emergency statement? Is it about something happening backstage, or is there a bigger threat that the public doesn't know about? Why are these two names mentioned at the same time, as if they were both bound in the same situation, when their agendas so far seem to be different? An internal source who declined to be named said that the statement was actually planned to be released next week. However, something happened at the last minute, something that not only affected Jungkook and Taehyung, but also threatened the image of the entire group. They have no other choice, the source said briefly. Rather than everything leaking out of control, it is better for them to talk first. That sentence alone is enough to make the ARMY flood social media with thousands of theories, ranging from privacy issues, internal problems, to the possibility of outsiders trying to use the BTS name for certain purposes. What makes this statement even more mysterious is HYBE's careful, yet sharp selection of words. There are no lengthy explanations, no details that satisfy curiosity, only fragments of sentences that are like deliberately leaving an empty space for the public to fill it with its own imagination. Is this a strategy? Or is it precisely a signal that something is too sensitive to open? Some ARMY members even gave goosebumps when they read the last part of the statement. We ask for the understanding of all parties not to spread unverified information in order to maintain the safety and comfort of our artists. Security. The word is rarely used in the context of a K-pop artist's statement, unless there is a real risk. Are Jungkook and Taehyung facing a threat? Or are there events that harm them directly? Rumors began to pour in. Some have linked it to a closed-door incident during a certain event a few days ago, where Jungkook was seen leaving the room with a tense expression, while Taehyung followed a few minutes later with a face that was difficult to read. Others have claimed that HYBE was actually negotiating with a third party over a tape involving the two, a tape that, if it really existed, could change the way the public viewed their relationship. This moment seems to be the point where everyone has to choose. Believe in the official version HYBE gave, or dig deeper even though the risk is to open wounds that may never have been intended for the world to see. For some ARMY, loyalty to the artist is everything, but human curiosity can never be completely silenced. Every little detail of the past interactions between Jungkook and Taehyung is now recaptured, reanalyzed, as if pieces of a once meaningless puzzle are now beginning to form a disturbing big picture. This statement also brings up one indisputable fact. Something is going on, and it's big enough to make a giant company like HYBE move fast. The ARMY, who've been accustomed to happy news, are now faced with the fact that even their idols are not immune from storms, and this time the storm may be darker than they ever imagined. And amid all the confusion, one question continues to resonate in the hearts of millions. Is this the beginning of the end, or is it precisely the beginning of the truth that has been hidden so far, hours after the statement was released? The mood in the ARMY community changed dramatically. Discussion groups that are usually boisterous with jokes about memes, fan cam, and comeback theories are now filled with serious speculation mixed with fear. Not a few wrote, "I've never felt this tense since their debut," or "This time it feels completely different, like something is at stake." Then, there was one thing that made the situation even more heated. A Korean entertainment journalist who is known to be quite credible uploaded a cryptic tweet containing only one sentence that made netizens flabbergasted. "What you see on stage is only half of the reality." No names, no photos, no hashtags. But everyone knew who he was referring to, because the upload time was only a few hours after HYBE released an emergency statement. Does this mean that there is a secret life that Jungkook and Taehyung have been hiding? Are there any major behind-the-scenes events that are too sensitive to pass on to the public? Or are they under so much pressure that the company has to step in? The questions are like embers blown by the wind. The more it tries to turn off, the more it lights up. Several ARMY claim to see strange signs since last week. Jungkook, who is usually active in Weverse, suddenly disappeared without any posts, while Taehyung was seen refraining from interacting too much in front of the camera. There were also those who noticed that in their latest performance, the standing position and interaction on stage were cold. Is this a coincidence, or part of the chain of events that led to HYBE's statement? Not stopping there, a photo uploaded by an anonymous account added to the panic. The photo was reportedly taken in a hotel room, showing silhouettes of two people who look like Jungkook and Taehyung talking with serious expressions. What made the public shudder was the fact that on a table near them was a document in which part of the writing was visible, and among the blurry words, one word was clearly read: a contract. No one knew what the contract contained, but rumors soon spread that it was related to ongoing secret negotiations. HYBE himself has not provided additional clarification, making all parties even more wondering. Why do they keep quiet when the situation is getting worse? Are they waiting for something? Or is there really information that, if opened, would trigger a much larger wave of reactions than now? In the midst of all this, several international media began to cover. Overseas headlines began to include sentences like, "Emergency statement from HYBE shocks BTS fans worldwide," or "What's really happening with Jungkook and Taehyung?" This coverage makes the situation even more difficult to control. Armies from different parts of the world who had only heard snippets of information from the Korean media have now begun to speak out loudly, demanding full transparency. However, on the other hand, there are ARMY who argue that too much public pressure will actually make Jungkook and Taehyung even worse. They remind that no matter what happens, the safety and mental health of the members must be a priority. But a louder voice always wins on social media, and this time, that voice is an unstoppable curiosity. Even more shocking, a former staffer who once worked for BTS posted on his personal account a sentence that instantly went viral. "If you knew what was going on behind those doors, you might never look at them the same way again." This sentence seems to confirm that there is indeed a big secret that is being closely guarded, and the secret involves Jungkook and Taehyung directly, in various forums. The ARMY began to combine all the little hints that ever existed. Some recalled an old interview in which Taehyung once said in a serious tone that not everything we see is what actually happens. At that time, the phrase was considered a general philosophy about life. But now, many are reinterpreting that it may be a code or a warning that as the clock goes on, the atmosphere gets more tense. A person claiming to be an insider in the entertainment industry wrote on a platform that HYBE was in the midst of the biggest management crisis in recent years. Not because of financial or legal problems, but rather because of an internal conflict involving two big names that cannot be resolved in the usual way. Those words alone are enough to convince the public that yesterday's emergency declaration is just the tip of a much larger and dangerous iceberg. And now, amid all the speculation swirling wildly, one thing is certain: something will happen in the near future. Whether it's a massive clarification, an information leak from an unexpected party, or even a drastic decision that might change BTS's direction forever. I can't tell you everything, but please, don't believe everything you read. The sentence is simple, but full of weight. Comments poured in. Thousands of soldiers asked for clarification, asked what really happened. Some even begged Jungkook to tell them everything. However, he just shook his head, his eyes glazed over. There are things that even I can't explain right now, but trust me, it's not about hate or separation. The words gave rise to wild interpretations. If it's not about resentment or separation, then what? Does this mean that there is a third party triggering the problem? Is it about outside pressure? Or a threat that requires them to act cautiously? The broadcast was short, only 12 minutes. Jungkook ended the live with the words, "I'll be fine, we'll be fine." But it was precisely his last words that left many sleepless that night. "If one day everything comes to light, I hope you stay here." Shortly after that live ended, Weverse and Twitter exploded. The clip of Jungkook looking down with red eyes was shared millions of times. On the other hand, Taehyung remained silent. No posts, no live, not even seen in public places. Taehyung's silence made the army even more uneasy. Is he abroad? Is he isolated by the company? Or is he trying to calm the situation from behind the scenes? Just hours later, an anonymous account known for leaking accurate information about the K-pop industry released a shocking statement. He claims to have an audio recording of a conversation between two BTS members that sounds like Jungkook and Taehyung. According to him, the tape contains a serious discussion of a secret deal that is being negotiated without the knowledge of the public, HYBEs moving fast. In just 40 minutes, the account was deactivated. But, as often happens on the internet, pieces of the claimed recording have already had time to spread in several forums. The voices of two men were clearly audible, calm, but tense. One of them said, "If this leaks, we will have no other choice." Another replied, "Hence, we have to make sure everyone is safe first." That sentence alone is enough to trigger hysteria. Clear? Safe from who? Safe from what? Is it about their physical safety or the safety of their careers and reputations? Meanwhile, the media began to form their own narrative. Some position this as an internal crisis due to the ruthless pressure of the entertainment industry. Others sensationally wrote that two of BTS's biggest stars may be involved in a secret conspiracy that threatens the future of the group. HYBE remained silent, repeating only the initial statement asking the public not to spread unverified information. However, HYBE's silence this time actually felt like a veiled confession. If all the rumors are not true, why don't they refute them unequivocally? Why let the speculation continue to grow, even to the international sphere? Behind the scenes, a former crew member who worked on BTS's world tour shared his experience on a private forum. He said that the relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung had indeed experienced a difficult phase in recent months, not because of personal disagreements, but because they were on two different sides in a major decision. The decision, he said, relates to projects that have not yet been made public, projects that involve more than just music. The two have different visions, and it's not a matter of ego, it's a matter of principle, he wrote. If you know the details, you will understand why they fought so hard to defend their opinions. That sentence actually gave rise to a new theory, that the matter is not about a split, but about two people who are both trying to protect something, just in different ways. And maybe that way is not always in line. Now, every second that passes feels like a countdown to something big. The army continued to wait, some with a pounding heart, some with fear. Will it end in a soothing explanation, or rather a divisive confession? And in the midst of all that chaos, one question is getting louder and louder in everyone's minds. If the truth is finally revealed, is the world ready to accept it? The next morning, the K-pop world woke up with a new shock. Not from HYBE, not from the media, but from Taehyung's bold move. After Instagram has been silent for days, his personal Instagram account suddenly posted an Instagram story that made millions of people hold their breath. Just a black and white photo, showing a tightly closed wooden door with dim light from a crack underneath. At the top of the photo, he wrote, "This door will open, sooner or later." No name, no explanation. However, given the timing of his post, which came right after a night of speculation. The public immediately linked it to the situation that was plaguing him and Jungkook. ARMY began flooding the comments section on his latest post, asking if this was code that he would be speaking soon, or a sign that the truth he had been hiding could not be held for much longer. A few hours later, Taehyung is seen exiting the HYBE building. His face was covered in a mask and hat, but his pace was quick, firm, as if he didn't want to get caught up in the media questions that began to wait outside. Surprisingly, at a time like this, Jungkook is not visible at all. There was no word from where he was.